Form W-9 and the Self-Directed IRA. Hey everyone, Adam Bergman here, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial. And on today's podcast, how to complete the W-9 for your self-directed IRA. So before I get into how to actually complete the W-9, which I will do line by line, and I will actually share my screen so I could illustrate this actually on the W-9 form. So that being said, if you have the ability to watch this on YouTube, you may want to do that because you'll have the ability to at least see the form. Otherwise, I will do my best to go line by line and explain what the line is requesting and then provide what the answer shall be. So I will offer basically the completion of the W-9 form for 3 self-directed IRA scenarios. 1, just a regular old self-directed IRA. 2, self-directed IRA LLC, single member LLC. And then thirdly, self-directed IRA LLC with a partnership. Okay, and then the next episode, I will do solo 401k and the W-9, just kind of go through it. So before we get into actually how to complete the W-9 form, let's just talk about what the heck is the W-9. So the W-9 is an IRS form that the IRS obviously is put forth and is used by financial institutions to prove that you're a U.S. person. And why is that important? Because if you're a U.S. person, you are not subject to backup withholding tax, which is 30%. So you are certainly in the right camp to want to be a U.S. person. So obviously, if it's an IRA, it's a U.S. party. It's not an issue that an IRA could be a foreign party. So you want to complete the form properly, obviously. So you don't want to be subject your IRA to backup withholding. But actually, for an IRA, it's actually even more important. Why? Because if you just use a regular self-directed IRA to make an investment, the bank and the IRS knows that title in the account would be IRA Financial Trust Company for the benefit of the Adam Bergman IRA. Hence, it's clear the owner of the account is an IRA and not an individual. So no need to go looking for the reporting of that income since the account holder is a tax-exempt IRA. But what about the situation where the account is in the name of an LLC, a limited liability company, and an IRA owns the limited liability company? So technically, if an LLC is wholly owned by an IRA, it's treated as a disregarded entity for tax purposes, meaning it still gives you the limited liability protection from a corporate setting standpoint in most states, but from a tax standpoint, it's treated as an invisible, a nothing. So you look at the owner to determine the tax implications. Now, if you have a single member LLC, you ignore the entity for a tax reporting standpoint, and you look at the owner. The owner's an IRA, tax exempt under 408, 501, meaning doesn't report tax. So, in an example, the LLC made $100,000 selling Tesla stock. The account's open in the name of the LLC. You want to make sure the IRS knows not to go looking at Adam Bergman's 1040 for the $100,000 of gain to be reported and pay tax on. Why? Because in this case, the LLC is owned by an IRA, not Adam Bergman. My IRA is not me. I'm the beneficiary, maybe. I'm the controlling party of the IRA. I'm the fiduciary of my IRA. But an IRA is separate from me. Doesn't pay tax. I do. So it's super important and clear. And it's important for this fact to be clear that the owner of the account is not the LLC, but the IRA from a tax reporting standpoint. So this form can be used by the financial institution in conjunction with the IRS to show and display and prove that the actual beneficial owner of the income is not a taxpayer, i.e. Adam. It's my IRA, which doesn't pay tax. So from a self-directed IRA LLC standpoint, the W-9 is a very, very important form to show and stop any potential issues that could arise where the IRS will correspond with you and reach out and request proof that this was not your income. So it's important to complete it right. So let's start if you are a regular old self-directed IRA. So line 1, you're going to put the owner, IRA Financial Trust Company, CFPO custodian for the benefit of the Adam Bergman IRA. Line 2, not relevant because the LLC, there's no LLC, it's just your IRA. So line 3, you're going to check other, and you're going to write IRA, individual retirement account. Okay. And then where it says 4, exempt payee code, you're going to do a 1 because that's exempt, shows the IRA. And then you could put an A underneath where it says exempt from FACTA for foreign reporting because the retirement account's exempt from FACTA. Then for the address, you can use our trust company address for IRA Financial. You can Google that on our website. You can use that. Taxpayer ID number, you're going to use IRA Financial's tax ID number. Now, some individual clients like to get their own tax ID number for the IRA. That's perfectly fine too. You can absolutely do that, but if not, we'll happily give you our IRA. Just ask your rep and they will give you our EIN and you can include it in line in part 1, tax ID number. You do not put your own social. And since you don't have an LLC, there's no LLC EIN, you would put the EIN of IRA Financial, or you can go on the IRS website and get an EIN for your IRA. They're technically not required. And then you can sign it as the rep of your IRA. So you're able to sign that. Some people will want us as the custodian to sign that. We're fine with that. But you can sign it as well as the authorized rep of your IRA as the fiduciary of your IRA. So that's, again, the only tricky stuff, again, is for section 3, you're going to check other and you're going to put IRA. Okay. So now, second scenario, you have a single member LLC. Let's say your LLC is called ABC LLC. Okay. Line 1, you're not going to put ABC LLC. You're going to put the owner of the LLC. Again, you're going to put IRA Financial Trust Company for the benefit of the Adam Bergman IRA or CFBO Adam Bergman IRA. Line 2, you're going to put the LLC name, ABC LLC. Line 3, you're going to go back to other and put IRA. Because if you look at the instructions, it says here, a disregarded entity should check the appropriate box for the tax classification of its owner. And we know the owner is an IRA, and there's no other box that satisfy an IRA. So you're going to check other, and you're going to put individual retirement account. On section 4, again, put a 1 for exempt payee code, and A for FACTA. Line 3, you put the LLC address, not the IRA custodian address, not IRA Financial's address, your LLC address. So, 567 Apple Street, whatever, Dallas, Texas. Okay. For the EIN, again, you're going to be able to put your, you're going to use the tax ID number for IRA Financial. Since they want the disregarded entities, that's what you would want to do. So you'll ask us for the tax ID number of IRA Financial, and you'll include it there. So this is a disregarded entity. You would then see the instructions for part 1. So if you look at the disregarded entity, and there's a nice instruction section here that you can look at and figure it out. For addresses, sole proprietors, other disregarded entity. For general business entities that has a single owner, including the LLC, you would then enter the owner's name. You would put the IRA Financial, and you would put for a tax ID number, the tax ID number of the owner. So just want to make sure that you're doing that properly. There's the exempt payee code. So the instructions are all here. If you look for tax ID number, let's see, just to show all the information's here. Okay, so it's pretty simple. You would put the owner disregarded entity tax ID number. So then you would sign it as the manager and you're done. Okay. So again, we're here to help if you have questions, but it's super easy. The only little trick for a single member LLC is the first line, put the name of the IRA, not the LLC. Second line, put the LLC. For section 3, go other and put IRA. Exempt pay code is always 1A. You can put the address of the LLC. That's fine. Use the tax ID number of IRA Financial. And you sign as the manager. So now you have a partnership. Well, let's say you have an LLC owned by 2 IRAs, 50-50. Line 1, you put the LLC name. Okay, line 2, you disregard. You don't have to include anything in line 2. Line 3, you put partnership. You check LLC. Okay, or you check partnership where it says 3A. It says individual sole proprietor, C Corp, S Corp. You check partnership. 4, you put 1 and A again. Section 3, you put the address of the LLC. Whatever it is. Tax ID number. Use the LLC's tax ID number, not IRA. use the LLC's tax ID number because it is not a disregarded entity, it's a partnership, and then sign it. One manager can sign it, and you're done. Okay, and again, the W-9 is not a tax form per se. You don't owe any tax. You want to use it and provide it to the financial institution to prove you're a U.S. person, so there's no backup withholding. You also want to have it so it's clear to the IRS that the owner of the account is in the situation where there's income or gains is a tax-exempt IRA, not you personally. So that hopefully will stop any potential problems where the IRS is looking for you to report income that's attributable to your IRA because they're not sure who owns this LLC. The W-9 is going to show who actually owns the LLC, which is an IRA, and therefore they should know the IRA is tax exempt, so they shouldn't have to go to Adam Bergman's 1040 and find out where the income is missing because I didn't report it. Hence, I didn't have to report it because the IRA is the owner of the account and not the LLC, and the W-9 is the form that proves that. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. If you're looking for more details, definitely watch the YouTube video. It's easier to just kind of follow the form. You can also just listen to it in Google IRS Form W-9 and just pull it up on your phone or your computer. And really the only lines are like line 1 or 2 gets confusing if it's a single member LLC or a partnership. And then section 3, you basically want to put other for IRA, unless it's a partnership. And then the address, if it's not an LLC, you put the IRA. If it's an LLC, you can put the LLC address. And then for the tax ID number, if it's not a partnership, you put the tax ID number of IRA Financial in the case of a regular self-directed IRA or a single member self-directed IRA because they want the EIN of the beneficial owner since it's a disregarded entity. That's it for today's podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully it was informative and beneficial. Thanks for listening. If you watched on YouTube, hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, and I hope to see everyone again on the next pod next week. Thanks, and take care.